It's obvious today we've come a long ways from the days I grew up in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, and Northwest Forsyth Little League and Pop Warner football and all of the things that we did in our community. But it's no secret that participation in youth sports plays a significant role in the development of children across the country. We all know that over the years, participation in sports has provided those critical opportunities for children to stay active, build character, develop lifelong skills such as perseverance, leadership, and teamwork. And while many of these youth sports organizations continue to serve children and families exceptionally well, as we're hearing here today, the shift away from community-based programs, along with rising fees, increased travel, and other factors, have left many parents dissatisfied with the current state of youth sports. In fact, I read recently a 2025 USA Today poll found that 73% of parents believe youth sports have lost sight of their core mission of fostering fun and developing teamwork, while 61% of parents reported that youth organizations now prioritize profit over purpose. So, Mr. Kikabik, based on your experience, what's the value of having youth sports organizations that are deeply rooted in their communities and accountable to local families rather than being controlled by outside operators who may be less connected to the communities they serve?
Yes, Mr. Harris, that's a fantastic question, and it's passion. It's the passion that it's local leadership administering local programming that's invested in that particular community to ensure that these young children have the opportunity to enjoy, whether it's soccer, hockey, lacrosse. So I think it comes down to the passion of the local volunteer-driven board of directors or the administrative staff of that particular club.
Well, that's an important statement you make there, because another finding the USA Today poll that I found particularly interesting was that 63% of parents said their children's sports teams travel more than necessary, and nearly 80% supported reducing travel. So, Ms. Flanagan, let me ask you, you mentioned that encouraging multi-sport participation, increasing fee transparency, and reducing unnecessary travel are ways to better align youth sports with what keep kids engaged. How effective do you think these approaches could be in reversing some of the negative trends and concerns that we're discussing here today?
I think if we could address those issues, it would fix a lot of the problems. In part because if we were able to cut back on the travel, that's the biggest expense for families. So if sports were more local, if there was no air travel involved or hotel stays, that would be an enormously important solution. Also, multi-sport play, as we've all spoken of, all the sports medicine doctors, medical associations, former professional athletes, everyone talks about the need for multi-sport play, and yet kids aren't doing it. Obviously some are, but a significant chunk are not. If we could switch that and penetrate parents' brains who are unfortunately flamboyantly irrational about their kids, it would go a long way to fixing some of these problems.
Thank you. Mr. Finnerty, as I read your written testimony in preparation for today's hearing, I appreciated the way you highlighted how quickly the short-term financial goals of investment in youth sports have become more important than the children and families those investments are intended to serve. You concluded your testimony by saying that the capital should ultimately be judged by the opportunities it creates for children, not the returns it generates for investors. What would it look like in practice for more operators and investors to embrace that standard, if you will, in the last 40 seconds?
Sure, thank you. I think it would look more like a result than it would be a mandate. Are more kids playing sports? Are they getting involved, and are the parents able to afford it? I think that's the goal at the end. So when we put that as high velocity first and foremost, most businesses aren't profitable in their first 5 years. We made it there in year 2 and have done so ever since because we put our community first and we reinvest in our community. So we have to be profitable to be civic, but at the end of the day, without those profits, we don't get to reinvest, and without our community, we don't have any of that. So I think at the end of the day, by I sound like a broken record, but by putting them first and what their desires and needs are, we can talk to the parents and educate them a little bit on not every 8-year-old's going to get a college scholarship or turn pro. And at the same time, if they're happy and healthy and ultimately want to play club hockey or soccer or baseball when they get to college, I think we've done our job.
Great. Well, thank you all for your thoughtful answers. Mr. Chairman, I yield back.